So February meeting of the Residents' Council to order, and welcome everyone who's here. And our invocation will be given by Don, I don't know how to say his last name. Armisen.
You're good to go.
Good morning. Let's bow our heads and pray. Heavenly Father, we come to you today as we begin this meeting, asking for your blessing, guidance, wisdom, and support. We ask that you should show us clearly how to conduct our work with a spirit of joy and enthusiasm. Gracious Father, give us the desire to find ways to excel in what we do. We ask that we would challenge each other to reach higher and to be the best that we can be. Help us to work together and encourage each other. Allow us to grow closer as a group and nurture the bonds of community. Fill us with your grace as we make decisions that affect the residents, staff, and families of Westminster Woods. Continue to remind us that all we do here today is for the pursuit of truth, for the service to humanity, and for greater glory to you. As we leave this place, surround us with your love. May we see your beauty, know your wisdom, and experience your power. May we find the comfort we need in you. May your joy be our strength when times are hard. May your love and peace overflow in our lives and onto others and around us. Thank you that your presence is with us every hour of every day. In the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, amen.
Thank you, Don. And our secretary's report.
The minutes of the January video recorded meeting were prepared, distributed, published on MyWLife, and posted on all community bulletin boards. No corrections were received, so the minutes will stand as published.
Thank you, Gretchen. And our treasurer's report by Elizabeth Ray.
Good morning. There is not a whole lot to be reporting this month. I can happily say we are still solvent. We can afford to continue giving our awards to our wonderful employees. The boutique brought in just under $400 this month. That was our biggest activity. So I encourage you to continue please shopping. They support everything we do as a council. I will also mention that also in support of our employees, the Employee Scholarship Fund is going through a fundraising period, so please consider donating to them. All proceeds go down to headquarters to be held in trust and then used for our employees and their children to get further education. A copy of the most recent Treasurer's Report will be posted on MyWLife under the Residents' Council folder, along with the meetings from this minute. Thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Are there any committee reports? Wayne?
Morning, Madam Chair. On behalf of the Dining Services Committee, I would just like to acknowledge something that's happening in 2 days. We're losing one of our most loyal, charming, and efficient employees after some 20 years here at Westminster Woods. And I think I'd like to have everybody aware of that. I'm not going to try to say her name because it would be an insult to her. Everyone knows her simply as our dining room supervisor, Titi. And Titi is going to be full-time grandmother. And she is taking her retirement on the 11th, which is this Thursday, finishes up. There is, or will be, it's temporarily away, but in the Florida Lounge is a book on the piano or near the piano. If anyone would like to make a comment to her and leave it for her, it's a memorial book which will be presented and she'll take with her. And if anyone wants to leave a comment, we would like to have them do that. But we just say bye-bye to a marvelous, wonderful lady, Titi.
Any others? Okay. May we have a report from the election committee?
You absolutely may. I am pleased to announce that we will be having elections in both the Garden Apartments and the Eastwood Creekside communities. We have 6 openings on this Residents' Council. The opening for Magnolia Creekside, North Point is unopposed. Ballots will be going out this coming Saturday. There will be drop boxes in both the Eastwood Clubhouse and in the lobby outside the dining room. Ballots are all due in by 5 o'clock the following Friday, which I believe is, I don't have my calendar with me. 19th, thank you. So they go out this coming Saturday, they're due in the following Friday. And sometime next week, we will know who the new members of the council to start serving on April 1st will be. Please vote. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'd like to ask Dave Dingfield to give us an update on the EMI project.
Thank you for the opportunity to come and talk to you about EMI again, once again. For those of you that aren't familiar with it, we're using that phrase, EMI is a shortened version of the Emergency Medical Information, and we've had a project going about that, and now we have a number of these pink envelopes going around with inserts in those that we would like to spend just a moment talking to you about this morning. For many of you, when you first signed up or were considering Westminster Woods at Julington Creek as a retirement, perhaps your last place on earth that you're going to be at, one of the things that maybe influenced you was the opportunity for having what we call the full-time nursing care for medical emergencies. And that was occurring right up until last spring when the coronavirus hit. And we were told then that WWJC could not allow that assisted living nurse to leave those facilities. So Health Services Committee was kind of stuck with trying to find a solution in trying to render that type of care. In the meantime, we found out that the Maintenance and Security Services was looking at external contractors to begin providing security, and they were building into the contract for CPR and first aid, so that we began to look at that as a real possibility. So we had an opportunity for the Health Services Committee of taking a little team, which happened to be Joan Hodges and Walt Brinkman and myself, and we began working with Rod and the people in the security to come together with a solution. So what we ended up doing is we had residents, we had health services, administration, we had maintenance and security, we had health services, and then we ended up with the county emergency medical personnel also to help us put together a design for what we call today the EMI project. So it's well worked in the organization, and we put together the design and the development of that and debate. Obviously, we're older, so we have a lot of debate going on, and we presented that to you, the Residents' Council, with your approval, and we then took it to the executive director for his approval. So what we have is the package together now. We're rolling out this design work. We have several sheets that go inside that, and one of them was called the face sheet, and that's when you first came here, you did a face sheet that the health center nurse hangs on to, and this one is replacing it. So this is the most current. If you filled out another one, the best thing to do is to fill out this new one. We also have, and that's generally when you go to the hospital, that's the one they want, because it has Medicare number on it, it has emergency contact, and so forth. The second sheet is called the medical data sheet. If you remember, this is the one that probably the physicians use the most. And it's got immunization, it's got allergies, it's got medications, and it also has your medical condition. Another sheet inside the pink envelope is what we're calling the do not resuscitate. This is the state of Florida's yellow sheet. It only is good if it's not only signed by a physician, but it's yellow. It says it in the Florida statutes. It must be yellow. So if you make copies of it, that's fine, but it's not as good as the yellow sheet. And then you put that in the package, and you put it your yellow, or you put your a living will if you have it, or power of attorney. And then you seal that, not seal it, but you close that up. And the last one we have on the front is called the special instruction sheet. And this is a sheet that we want you to feel that emergency responder, or what we call staff responder here on campus, will make the phone calls for me and let whoever that I designate on that form, they'll give them a call. We're trying to set like a goal of within an hour or so of you going to the hospital that the phone calls get made. If you have a pet, that someone would come over and take care of that, or take care of that pet. So when you go, you have assurance that somebody is keeping an eye on your pet. And then, as most important, is if you have a partner or a spouse that cannot be left alone, that somebody comes and spends the time with them. Our staff responder or security can't stay, so we give you a couple of phone numbers there to be calling. So putting the project together, the responsibility now belongs to the residents. What are you going to do as a resident? Are you going to choose this? We found out that less than 50% of the residents even use the yellow card. So we're trying to, this is really important. This is not just for you, it's also for WWJC, it's also for the EMTs that come, and it's also for the hospital. So we want you to choose that, and as it's being rolled out, we're doing everything we can. We got neighborhood captains to help you fill it out. We also have one-on-one sessions on Mondays and Thursdays in the River Lounge. If you choose to come between 11:30 and 1 at lunchtime, we have someone there that will, several people there will be able to help you. And so far we've had probably close to 40 people come and spend time there over the last couple of weeks. So we're going to do that for the next 2 weeks. We'll have somebody in there. So that's my explanation of EMI and what it is, and I thank you for your participation in it.
Thank you, Dave.
The yellow card that you take to the hospital, does that go in the envelope too?
If you want, this really replaces everything on that card, and it's beyond
Go
that.
back to Westminster Woods.
Pardon me?
That yellow card says, I want to go back to Westminster Woods.
Oh, you're talking the little yellow card. Yeah, yes, that's yours. That's put in your pocket.
Okay.
Do any members of the council have questions for Dave? Thank you, Dave. And now I think we have a resolution relative to the project.
Yes, ma'am, we certainly do. The Healthcare Services Committee presented a resolution, which I shall read and look for approval from the council. It reads, the Residents' Council recommends to WWJC management that the Emergency Medical Information EMI process become a functional operating process now whereby WWJC leaderships, including Executive Director, Health Services Administrator, and Director of Maintenance and Security, owns the accountability and the commitment to keep EMI in working order. The Health Services Committee takes responsibility for educating and involving the independent living residents. I'd like a second, please.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Is there any discussion? In that case, I guess we're ready to vote. All in favor of the resolution, raise your right hand. Okay, it's unanimous, so there's no point in asking for the noes. Okay. Is there any other business for the council? All right, Brian, it's your turn.
Well, good morning, everybody, and I want to thank you, Madam Chair, the Council, and the Health Services Committee for the resolution and all of the work that went into this comprehensive approach to ensuring that the EMTs have the necessary information that they need when they come to provide medical assistance to people on our campus. So we accept the responsibility of that and are very grateful to you for your assistance in that. We couldn't have done it without you. At the end of last week, I put out a letter and said that we have 85% of our campus vaccinated. And I wanted to give you a little bit more detail. I'm sure that there's questions as to what all that means. And that number does include both residents and team members. And for our residents, I can tell you that 94% of our residents, for the health center, 94% of our residents have accepted the vaccination, 100% of the residents in assisted living, and 97% of the residents in independent living have accepted the vaccination. That's outstanding. Thank you very much. Now, you know that we can never compete with you all, but we are doing better than many communities and our team members. And our health center team members are at 61%. Have accepted the vaccination. Assisted living is 46%, and all other employees or team members are at 60%. So that brings our community to 85%. It's 97% for residents as a whole, and 58% of our team members as a whole that have accepted that. Now, there is an operational definition of vaccination that we're going to be using going forward. And that has to do with once you can be experiencing the full efficacy of the vaccination, which has been defined as 2 weeks after the second dose has been taken. So we have pins that we have available to both team members and to residents. We started giving them out yesterday as we were giving out the $200 gift cards to all of the team members that have accepted the second dose. And I can work with Kathy and the council on if we want to hold on to these until the operational definition has been achieved, which would be 2 weeks after residents have received the second dose. But we're very proud of everybody that has gotten vaccinated. But as we're looking at relaxing some of the guidance that we've been providing around what takes place on campus, when we refer to vaccinated in any of those documents or guidances, it's going to be in association to those people that have already passed the second week past their second dose. So we are looking at relaxing some of the guidance, and I do expect that in the near future I will be able to communicate more information about that. We will continue to look at things as information evolves, but one thing that we can expect not to change is masking for all on campus and testing for team members. So we will continue to be wearing our masks, even though we have achieved the operational definition of vaccination until further notice. There may be some settings in which that is appropriate. You know, we eat without masks on. There are some other things that are starting to be talked about, but not as much in the professional journals, but more in the social news. So we're following that very closely, and our job and what we want to do is provide you the best guidance possible as we continue to learn about the coronavirus and the different variants that are popping up around the world and now in our country. Wanted to also share with you some projects that are taking place on campus. Puxatawny Phil said that spring is not coming for another 6 weeks, but fortunately we're in Florida and it's going to come sooner down here than it is up in Pennsylvania. And we have already started working on different projects around the campus. Last week we completed the painting of the wood doors and wood trim over on North Point. We're going to be doing our pressure washing in March and April throughout the campus, again starting at North Point. We have just started getting on the roofs of the Eastwood villas and getting the leaves and the gutters and everything cleaned out there. We've been on the main campus roofs. You might have seen the HD Turf guys on this roof all the way down the way, getting the bags of leaves removed from up there. So a lot is starting to happen already, and we continue to plan on that as we get closer to the spring. We also know that we had 2 freeze days last week, so we are holding off on any plantings right now, but we have secured the plants that need to be replaced in different aspects of our campus. And one area that Rod is excited about is the old lift station area. We have abandoned the old lift station in accordance with the county guidance. Everything has been taken out, it's been pressure washed. We're going to be filling it with sand and making that a nice little landscaped area with a bench and just enhancing that area there. So things are going to be happening, and we are excited about the season change and want to keep this campus looking as nice as we possibly can all the time throughout the year. So I think that's the extent of what I had to report right now, but I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Are there questions or comments for Brian or Dave or Wayne?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Mr. Tenney, for your report. I am wondering if there's, when will the project on Orange Avenue for the memory care unit start? And what is going to happen to all those trees that have orange bands around them? Are they all coming down, and how are we going to replace those?
Sure. I don't know. I guess we could all assume that the orange bands around the trees means that they've been identified to be removed. But we are waiting on a redevelopment update from community service support. That's another thing I could update you on. We've always referred to, I'll do that in a minute. But they're going to be coming and giving an update to our redevelopment team, and we're going to get better information as to when we can expect the memory care assisted living groundbreaking to be taking place. So at this point, I don't have any further information. I don't have a date yet, but I do expect to get a date soon. It was said that those updates for campuses that have redevelopment committees will be taking place in March and April.
Thank you, Mr. Tenney.
So that reminded me of something. We have always been known and referred to as a continuing care retirement community, or CCRC. And Leading Age did a study about 5 years ago where they were asking future prospects of moving into our campuses what CCRC means to them, and I guess they came up with another terminology or label of what our campuses can be. And what was determined by a lot of but by that study, that a lot of the baby boomers that are going to be coming don't like the word care in life care or community. So we have, or they changed it to life plan community. So it's a plan, you know, to come to a community like this. I've always said that people that live in our communities are the consummate planners and hold you all in the highest regards because not everybody is proactive. But the other thing that we're going to be changing our lexicon on is that we've referred to Orlando as management support services in the past. And with a culture of servant leadership, we will now be calling MSS CSS, which is Community Support Services. So those were two things that were recently announced, and I thought that I would share those with you all as well, so that we can all be working together on changing our terminology.
Probably take a long time. It'd probably take a long time for us to change our vocabulary. Are there other comments or questions? Jim?
I got my pink card filled out, so if I need it. Brian, on this CCRC going to, what did you call it, life care community?
Life plan
Life
communities.
plan, yeah. Is the premise of those going to remain the same? Like a CCRC is you pay a lower interest care, and if you go to other facility like assisted living or health center, you pay a higher fee. Life care communities, you pay a high entrance fee and a high monthly fee, but you can move between the different levels without any change. Is this going to change for us?
No. So we like our positioning, the way that we've structured ourselves, and nothing is changing there. Maybe I shouldn't have said life care, but continuing care retirement communities are now referred nationally as life plan communities. But there's a lot of different types of structures, organizational structures underneath that umbrella. And how we are structured organizationally is not changing. It's just the umbrella of CCRC is being referred to as life plan communities, and we are accepting that as we refer to ourselves as we move forward in 2021.
That's good. Thank you.
Other questions or comments? Seeing none, meeting adjourned.